Now, the best thing we have going for us is being who we are. Widows is directed by Steve McQueen and starring Viola Davis, Michelle Rodriguez, Elizabeth Debicki, Liam Neeson, Colin Farrell, Daniel Kaluyya, and Brian Tyree Henry. As always, there will not be any plot spoilers in this review. This film depicts a group of women whose husbands have all passed away, but they left behind a certain debt to a certain local gangster, and they have to fulfill that debt by pulling off a heist. This is the newest film from director Steve McQueen, which many of you may know from his previous work in 12 Years a Slave, which won both the Best Picture Oscar and the Best Directing Oscar from a few years ago, and this film is a bit of a departure from what we've seen from his filmography so far. This is a larger budgeted film than he's typically worked with in the past, it's different in subject matter than he's worked with in the past, and the film is also centered around a heist, and what we get is a film that I think is fantastically well directed. Steve McQueen still shows that he has the amazing ability of knowing exactly how to use the camera, exactly how to design a shot, exactly how to use the camera in all of its facets, not only in standstill form, but in a moving camera form. But what really is the main benchmark of this film, and one of the major positives I have with it, is the cast is extraordinary. As you heard me read off all those names. But the one that sticks out for me, and the one that really takes over the film, and someone whom I would really recommend seeing this film for just for her, and that is Viola Davis. She plays kind of the main protagonist of this film, and I say protagonist in a rather loose way because the film is dealing with a lot of gray morals when it comes to themes and things like that, but Viola Davis is our main person that we are kind of following through this story, and the film really concentrates mostly upon her predicament and the way it affects the other women in the group and those types of things. And she is just a powerhouse in this movie. Just astonishing acting from her, really giving us all of her dramatic ability in this film. And it's not over the top. It feels all really natural because of how much the film concentrates on her. I also thought Michelle Rodriguez was really good, and I thought Elizabeth Debicki was really fantastic as well. The story that her character is going through I thought was really, really interesting. Colin Farrell, I think, is still one of the most underrated actors we have. He is just great in this film, really giving, yet again, a really solid, understated performance. Daniel Kaluyya is doing a different type of role than we've seen him do before. He's doing a much darker, more serious role, and I thought he was rather believable and rather frightening in his role. Another strong aspect of this film, I think, are its themes and its social commentary and what it's overall trying to say. The film has a lot of layers to it. The chief amongst them is, of course, the female empowerment that this film exhibits. We have a cast of women here that all are going through their own character's journey. It's all about female empowerment and great things like that. And we're also getting a glimpse of kind of the dirtiness of local politics in this film. This film is set in Chicago, one of the more crime-ridden areas of this country, a city that has dealt with a lot of history of amorality and things like that, and the film really depicts a lot of that, specifically within the Colin Farrell character and his relationship with his father, portrayed by Robert Duvall, I thought was really fascinating, because the Robert Duvall character is an old-school white politician who is from a completely different generation, and it still has all of those really old-style mentalities that he's trying to impress upon his son, and that relationship has a lot of clash to it. When it comes to the negatives I have with this film, a lot of them have to do with the overall screenplay and the overall plot, and particularly their structure. Like I just mentioned, there are a lot of characters in this film, so therefore there are a lot of plot lines with those characters. Some of those plot lines do get consolidated throughout the course of this film. The film does have a problem when it comes to presenting all of these plot lines, and it can be seen as being done in a rather haphazard way. The film has some balancing issue problems when it comes to all of these things. There were some moments of the film where I was scratching my head and questioning the way these characters were interacting. Felt weird to me because of the circumstances that they were put in were kind of extraordinary to the point where you have to suspend disbelief. And with a film that is dealing with something that is supposed to be so dramatic and so real and so important, having to suspend disbelief hinders that greatly for me personally. So with all that being said, I'm going to give this film a 3.85 out of 5 stars. The acting is fantastic, the direction is fantastic. The problems I have to do are more with the plot and the story and their structure and things like that. But overall, I do recommend this film if you're fans of Steve McQueen and you're fans of really great filmmaking. That has been my review of Widows. If you like this video, please check other videos on my channel.